He sat across from her at a quiet cafe, sunlight slipping through the window and resting on his hands. He thought she was looking at his face, his eyes, maybe listening to his story about work, about the years he had survived. But she wasn't looking where he thought she was looking. She was noticing something else, something subtle, something honest, something that had nothing to do with youth and everything to do with presence. You see, after a certain age, attraction stops being loud. It becomes quiet, almost invisible. And most men over 60 miss it entirely. Let that sink in. This isn't a talk about seduction tricks or how to impress. This is about awareness, about the parts of you that speak when you're no longer trying to sell yourself, about what women actually read when they look at you, especially when you believe you're no longer being looked at all. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Women don't stop noticing men as they age. Men stop realizing they're being noticed. You've been told the story that desire fades with time, that aging means becoming invisible, that your relevance now lives only in your past achievements. But that story is incomplete. And in some ways, it's a lie that protects you from vulnerability. Because being seen is risky, and being desired at this age requires honesty you may not be ready for. Women don't scan you the way they did when you were 30. They're not looking for perfection, they're looking for signals. Signals of emotional safety, signals of vitality, signals of self-respect. And these signals live in places you may have stopped paying attention to. The first place she notices is your eyes, not their color, not how young they look, but whether they are alive. Your eyes tell her how you have lived with disappointment, whether bitterness moved in and made itself comfortable, whether you still carry curiosity or only caution. When you speak, do your eyes soften or harden? When she shares something personal, do your eyes stay with her or retreat inward? Women over 40, 50, 60, they've learned to read eyes the way sailors read weather. They know when a storm is coming. They know when someone is emotionally unavailable before a word is spoken. Your eyes reveal if you are present or merely waiting for your turn to talk. And here's the part men don't like to hear. Eyes that have given up are louder than words. They tell her you've closed the door somewhere inside yourself. Let that sink in. The second place she notices is your mouth. Not for charm, not for smooth talk, but for restraint, how you speak about your past relationships, how you speak about women who hurt you, how you speak about life. Your mouth reveals whether you have processed your pain or are still bleeding onto strangers, when you complain excessively, when sarcasm replaces vulnerability, when bitterness hides behind humor. She hears it immediately, and something inside her closes. Silence, used well, is far more seductive than explanation. A man who can pause, who doesn't rush to fill the space, who lets words land and breathe, that man communicates emotional maturity without trying, and maturity at this stage of life is erotic in a way youth never was. The third place she notices is your hands. Your hands carry your history. They show how you touch the world, whether you move with care or with aggression, whether you're at ease in your body or disconnected from it. When you gesture, are your movements grounded or restless? When you hold a cup, do you grip or cradle? Hands that tremble with anxiety tell a story. Hands that slam tables tell another. Hands that rest calmly, confidently, speak of a man who has made peace with himself. And here is the twist most men don't expect. Women don't look at hands to imagine sex. They look to imagine safety. Safety is the foundation of desire. Without it, attraction collapses. The fourth place she notices is your posture. Not how straight you stand, but how you carry your weight. Your posture reveals whether you are still engaged with life or slowly retreating from it. Do you collapse inward, apologizing for your existence? Or do you take up space without needing permission? There is a difference between arrogance and groundedness, and women can feel it immediately. A man who stands with quiet confidence, who doesn't shrink or puff up, signals something powerful. I am comfortable with who I am now, and that comfort is magnetic. You don't need the body you had at 40. You need the presence you avoided at 40. The fifth place she notices, this one surprises men, is your breath. Your breathing tells her how regulated you are emotionally. Fast, shallow breaths signal anxiety, impatience, unresolved stress. Slow, steady breathing communicates calm, safety, and depth. When you listen, do you breathe or hold your breath? When conversation becomes intimate, do you stay open or tense? Women sense nervous systems before they sense intentions. And here is the unexpected truth. Attraction at this age is less about chemistry and more about nervous system compatibility. Let that sink in. Now, here's the part that might sting. Many men over 60 believe women are judging their bodies the way men judge women's bodies. They are not. Women are asking different questions. Has he done his inner work? Is he emotionally available? Can he sit with discomfort without becoming defensive? Does he know how to repair after conflict? Is he curious about me or only about how I make him feel? And when the answers are unclear, the body reveals them before the mind does. There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman decides whether to lean in or pull back. It happens before attraction becomes a thought. It happens in the body. And most men miss that moment because they're busy trying to impress. Here's the emotional twist no one warns you about. The more you try to prove your worth, the less safe you feel to be with. Desire doesn't grow where performance lives. It grows where authenticity is allowed to breathe. Some of you listening have been married for decades and feel unseen. Some are divorced and carry regret like a shadow. Some are alone, not by choice, but by emotional exhaustion. You've loved, you've lost, you've been misunderstood. And somewhere along the way, you learn to protect yourself by closing off parts of you that once made you alive. Women don't want you to be younger. They want you to be awake to your emotions, awake to your patterns, awake to the ways you withdraw when intimacy asks more of you. The tragedy of aging isn't the body changing, it's the heart hardening. But here is the hope. Quiet, steady, real. You are not finished. At this stage of life, you are more capable of intimacy than you have ever been. If you choose it, not intimacy as performance, intimacy as presence. When a woman looks at you now, she isn't asking, will he impress me? She's asking, can I rest here? And if you can offer that through your eyes, your voice, your hands, your posture, your breath, you will be unforgettable. Not because you chased desire, but because you became someone desire feels safe to visit. Let that sink in. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to return to yourself. And when you do, the right. People won't just notice you. They will feel you.